This is David Adams from the Kcoe Center for Operational Excellence at St. Vincent College, bringing to you our workplace organization short version, 5S plus 1, a quick introduction to the topic and an overview. I'd like to point out that the Kcoe system was conceived by Roger Lewis. You can see where Roger has worked, and you can also learn more about Roger by checking out the link there shown on the page, engagingkcoe.com/Roger with a D. Kcoe's mission is to engage organizations to help them achieve world-class performance. We do that by coaching the Kcoe system and providing an annual set of events that we've called the Kcoe Institute that you can subscribe to, and by also supporting the academic program in operational excellence at St. Vincent College. Today we're going to be talking about workplace organization, or 5S plus 1, and you can see this is our implementation curve, and down here in level A, workplace organization, supported by some foundations: plan, do, check, act cycles, visual management, and roles and responsibilities. So today we're really going to focus in on workplace organization, the 5S's plus 1. Before we do that, let's start with those foundations: plan, do, check, act cycle, visual management, roles and responsibilities. These are pictures of artifacts of a 5S plus 1 implementation on a shop floor. You can see here the box full or a drawer full of chucks for a drill with some missing chucks, a tool board, a shadow board, a set of binders with a piece of tape indicating the order that the binders should be in, and also a spot here, a parking spot on the floor for these carts to return to when they're empty. The question is, what do these visual management systems tell us? What's their purpose? Well, the purpose of visual management is to allow us to be able to see problems as they're occurring so that we can respond to them and solve problems. So some of the things that you need to have in place before you do a 5S plus 1 system: you want to have a balanced scorecard at least the site or corporate level that gives you some sense of moving along a journey in operational excellence. So we want to see how operational excellence is affecting positively the business, and 5S plus 1 is a game changer. When you begin to get organized on your shop floors or in your offices or in the operating rooms or the operating suites in a hospital, it really does change the way that you do business and change the game. So you want to have the balanced scorecard in place so that you can see the positive impact. You also want to have a system of problem solving, simple 5Y problem solving across the board, because as you introduce visual management, if you create a system that shows you where problems are occurring, then you definitely want to have an organizational system to solve those problems. Otherwise, you'll drive your teams crazy. So visual management helps to improve our business. 5S plus 1 is an outgrowth of visual management, and as we'll see later, it also incorporates the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act cycle, and roles and responsibilities. So the first step here is to organize our workplace, and you'll notice that we start with safety. The 5S's are plus 1, safety, sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain. Why do we start with safety? Because it's our first priority. It's our first consideration in all things. The way we organize our thinking and our decision making starts with safety, and it precedes quality, productivity, human development, and cost. And it always goes in that order. It's everyone's priority, but the truth is that unless you exercise these responsibilities, it doesn't truly become a priority. So this is one of those systems or subsystems in the Kcoe system that allows us to exercise that value and strengthen it in the organization. We want to make sure that our safety system, which is different than an OSHA system, and I encourage you to check out our blog at engagingkcoe.com/blog. There's a few articles there that show the contradistinction between a safety system in the OE system versus your typical OSHA system that you put into place. There is a difference. There is an overlap. But we want to make sure that we use visualizations in our safety system. So let's start with the first S, sort. And sort's pretty easy. You want to get the unused items out of the workplace. And you can suspect that if you start to do that with your team, that some people may be more fond of certain things than other people in the workplace. So it really is a team effort to try and agree on what is unused. The good way to do that is by thinking of when or how often we use a certain thing in our process of making a product or creating a service. Get the things out of the workplace that are not used and put them into a red tag holding area. This allows some time for us to be able to go back and see whether or not we need that thing that we've gotten rid of from our workplace. Also gives a place for others to go and take a look to see whether or not there's something in that red tag area they need. Let's say, for example, we red tag a filing cabinet that's no longer of use to us, but the department next door fills out a purchase order and orders a filing cabinet. I've seen this happen all over the world wherever we've worked. And so go take a look in the red tag area to see if there's something that you need. That red tag area should be cleaned out periodically. Initially, after the first 5S+1 push, maybe it's daily and weekly. Later, maybe you can drop that down to a monthly cycle. And after that review period ends, dispose of the items or find a new home for them. Second S is straighten. We want to arrange things so that they're easy to find, and we want to arrange things based on the frequency of use and the order of use. And the one way to do that is to make sure that things are labeled, outlined, and they have a specific location. That way, if they go missing, we know that it's not there and we can go find it. And some really great creativity we've seen out there in our implementation projects with our clients about how to make sure that things are color-coded properly and labeled and specifically located. Third S is shine. We want to make sure that we clean to an inspection standard. That standard should be agreed upon by the team, and it should be as objective as possible. We want to make sure that we clean to prevent future problems, and we also want to clean to see whether or not problems are occurring on a piece of equipment. You can see that on this machine, we've cleaned it up and painted it, and now it would be very easy to see whether or not we've got a leak in the bearings on this particular part of the machine. And we want to make cleanliness part of our daily work. This is a precursor to total preventive maintenance, a TPM, which comes later in the Kcoe system, but it's a good way to learn the basic elements of it. So if you stop here and just do the first 3 S's, then it's really just like spring cleaning. It's great, your workplace looks better and it feels better, but if you don't do the last 2 S's, you're going to quickly degrade back to the situation that you had before. Standardizing and sustaining are really the hardest parts of the system or subsystem here. So the first one, standardize. We want to create some clear standards. Again, they need to be objective with the team members. We want to make sure that team members are coming up with the standards themselves based on some principles that we have shared with them. We want to make sure that these standards are simple, visual, and there's that visual management piece again, and logical. Last, we want to do our PDCA cycle. We want to create a plan to check act cycle with a check, and that's the sustaining piece here. We want to create some checks, restorations, and audits that make sure that we don't get too far away from that standard that we agreed to in the previous S. So we want to do some daily restorations by the team members, and they should agree on what they can and will do daily. And we also want to do some daily checks by the team member, and this is actually, or team leader. This is how the team leader can wrap a plan, do, check, act cycle around his or her team members to make sure that these restorations are getting done properly. And then also we want to do a weekly audit by the team leader. Maybe this is a little bit more expanded and more detailed to look at the standards that were developed in the previous S. Those weekly audits should be scored and reviewed at our monthly balance scorecard meeting, and this is a great place to recognize and reward excellence and teamwork and modeling the system. So if you need any help in implementing 5S+1, let us know. We can do some coaching, some training. We can help you out with some sample checklists or audit development pieces. Give us a call at 724-805-2831, country code 1 because we're in the U.S., or you can check us out at our website shown right there on the slide. Thanks for listening today and have a great one.